Hi everyone, thank you for watching. Today I'm here with Jay Harris, professional boxer, Commonwealth champion, European champion, and WBC world title challenger. And we're going to be having a chat about his life and career today. So thank you for taking the time to talk with me today, Jay. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's good.
Okay. So, I mean, starting at the beginning, with your career and everything like that, I mean, going back to your amateur days or even before that, how did you first get into boxing?
Yeah, well, I first got into a boxing through an old friend of mine. Pretty much used to be playing on the street all the time. And then he'd like disappear about 5 o'clock nearly every evening. So one day I pretty much followed him, and it was the Gwent ABC in Town Hill. And so, like enough, the owner of the Gwent was Terry Gray. He let me have my first session there, and then when I went home, as obviously my mother and father didn't even know I went, and I went home. I was all sweaty and all red in the face and that, and then my father was like, "Oh, where have you been?" And then I told him I've had to go in the local boxing gym, and that was it. Then he said, "All right, then if you're going to take it seriously," he said, "you might as well, I'm going to train you." So that's what my dad did. He got his trainer's license, and he trained me ever since then. And he started training the boys up there, and yeah, that the rest is kind of like history. And it's a yeah, it was just through a good friend of mine called Josh Dennis.
It's almost by chance in a way. That's pretty cool, that is. And obviously, being trained by your father. I mean, I know he had a lot of boxing experience. He had his own career as well, and everything like that. How does that sort of impact on your training? I mean, what sort of benefits do you get from that?
It's been really good. Obviously he knows a lot. He's got a lot of experience in the game. As I said, he's done it all before himself, so he knows the ins and outs of the training. So it's kind of worked really well. But as people don't know, it's a lot of it's in house as well. Like my diet and stuff. My mother actually does all the diet for me. So all the health eating and all the make and stuff like that is down to her cooking, and she's really good. She's really clued up on it as well. So that really does help as well, because I don't have to pay for dietitians or meal preps or anything like that. It's all done local in my house. But with my dad, he as I said, he knows the mistakes I shouldn't really be making. So he's always been quite strict on me ever since the amateur days. Like he said, it's not pretty much not a sport that you mess about in, because obviously you can get hurt. It's what it is, what's it all about. Like, um, other than that, no. The only things we really like butt heads about is probably about the food and stuff. And when we're living together for too long, we kind of argue quite a bit. But other than that, it's been great since I was 12 years old, and it's never going to change. I don't think.
Oh, that's good. So, whole sort of family enterprise. That is good. That I like that. I like that. And I mean, with your amateur career, then I know a lot of people watching this, will sort of be familiar with that and everything. But for anyone who isn't, could you sort of give us a little bit of an overview of your amateur career and how that went?
Yeah, my amateur career was pretty good as it goes. As I said, I started when I was 12. I think I won my first Welsh title in that year. It's like 7 fights in, I think it was. Um, yeah, and then from then I think I had about 36 fights. I won 31. I had 5 Welsh vests, three British finals. I had silver twice and a gold, and I represented Wales in like Estonia and France and stuff like that. It was a pretty good amateur career. Even though I didn't have a lot of fights, I still had quite a good career in what it is. And I turned pro when I was like 21, I think.
Yeah, that's okay. So you still had a lot of success and a wealth of experience there. And I mean, you've been pro now. I think it's what is it now? About 7 years or so, isn't it? That you've been,
Yeah.
yeah. And obviously in that time, I mean, you accomplished some amazing things. You moved mountains, obviously Commonwealth, European, World Title Challenge. But I mean, I know your pro debut. I mean, it didn't really start out with the glitz and glamour. Started out on the small hall shows. You've worked your way
Yeah.
up from the small hall shows. What was your debut fights actually like?
Yeah, it was great. it was an hell of an experience, isn't it? Because I've never experienced anything like that in my life before. So yeah, doing the like transitioning from like the no head guards and smaller gloves and stuff, it does really it really suited me anyway, because I don't really like it wearing head guards myself, even when we have to sort of spar, but we have to anyway. But the whole enjoyment of my debut was unreal. I fought a guy called Brett Fido over 4 rounds. He was in the Newport Centre as it was. It took about 60 boys up to me, 70 boys, and they were all loud and singing all the time. And that just made it for me. It was just an unreal experience.
It's fantastic. And obviously, I'm skipping over a few fights now, but you continued obviously for a while fighting on the small hall shows and sort of gaining experience. And then obviously came the Commonwealth title challenge. I mean, what were the circumstances sort of around that? I mean, how did that fight come to be, and what was the actual fight like?
Well, consider I was with Warren. See, after my debut, I signed with Frank Warren for a bit. But then, as I said, it all went smoothly for a bit. Then up until the Commonwealth title fight, and I was like 9-0, and then they pretty much said, "Can we give me a title shot?" So it pretty much was the Commonwealth title and against Thomas Somba. I knew Thomas, so I looked him up anyway, and he was a tough African fella. He's still a tough guy now. He's gone up to like bantamweight now and still knocking fellas out now. He is. Um, but yeah, as soon as it, I think it was just after Christmas. A guy rang me and said, "Got a chance, Commonwealth title shot. You got about 7 weeks. You have to prepare. It's in your call." He said, "Do you fancy it?" And I was like, "Well, definitely. It's a title in there." So yeah, got ready in 7 weeks. Got down to the 8 stone mark, because at that time honestly I didn't think I was going to make 8 stone. But to be fair, I made it quite comfortable as well. And then yeah, as to this day, I think Thomas Somba was probably one of my up there with one of the toughest fights I've had. It was a massive learning curve for myself. Load of experience gained from it, considering it was like my first 12-round fight. Because I've previous to them fights, I've only ever did 6, and I stopped the majority of them in about 4 rounds. So doing the 12 and actually doing the 12 was a lot of experience, because I knew exactly when to put them. Well, I didn't at the time, because in the 7th round I was absolutely knackered, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, you can even ask Gary about that. I was looking, I was like, bloody hell. And I was like, what round is it? And he was like, a 7. I was like, Jesus Christ. I go, it's still quite a bit to go. And then, but obviously, and I think the 9th, 10th, and 10th, 11th, and I kind of got a second wind. So it showed how much training I did put in. But lucky I did get that second win, because in the previous rounds, I think I lost the previous rounds 7 and 8. And it was bollocks there was. But lucky enough, I did come through, and I won the fight quite comfortably. But it was like a massive learning curve for me, I think, it's, to where I am today.
Yeah, so you took a lot away from it. I like that. And then, skipping forward a little, a few more fights, because I know you were keeping busy um, during that time. But one of the fights that obviously gained a lot of attention was Paddy Barnes, and I know we skipped forward in time a bit there,
Yeah.
a few fights, but that was one of the key ones, because what interests me about that fight is obviously getting a fight like that. Olympic medalist, well, two-time Olympic medalist, and everything like that. And you basically went into his backyard. I mean, you went into hostile territory there. I mean, what was that sort of experience like, going into an opponent's backyard like that?
Oh, it didn't bother me at all. It didn't. I've always said this. It's pretty much the crowd aren't fighting, are they? It's only you and him in the ring. It doesn't matter what the crowd are like. The- It's only me and the other fella that's fighting. So it didn't really bother me. Even when we were out in Ireland, they were asking, "Oh, who am I fighting?" and stuff, and I told them like Paddy Barnes, and they were like, "Oh, he's our golden child," and stuff, and pretty much like that. And I was like, "Oh, I'm just happy to be having this fight." It was such a big fight for me. I knew I could win. So when it came up, I thought it's a great name to have on the record, and hopefully something like that will propel me on to like world honours, which it did. But I still, to this day, I think that Ulster Hall was the best atmosphere I've experienced. It was unreal. It was. But and to be fair to the Irish, the Irish crowds, they were nothing but welcoming to me. All through the couple of days we were there, and after the fight and everything, I had a couple of people come up to me after it and said, if you beat our own and do it convincingly, you'll have a respect, like, and it was like that. It was
Mm.
great.
And you did beat him convincingly, so it obviously it all worked out. Knockout. I mean, it worked out very well. So that was obviously that was massive at the time, and and it still is a great fight, even to sort of to watch back now and to look back on. I mean, because I know I've skipped over here because I've skipped over your European challenge as well, which I was obviously ringside for that. And I mean that was a hometown crowd. I mean, again, did that make a difference to you having
So
like all the Welsh supporters?
the European title,
Yeah.
uh, I had a good few boys going up, but again, it did make a difference. Obviously, it's nice to have your home crowd there cheering you on and stuff. But I was there to do a job, and I needed to win. I needed to get a European title, and which I did. And Angel Marino was coming straight off a world title challenge with Charlie Edwards as well, so it was nice and fresh. Um, and I thought I dominated that fight better than Charlie did, if I'm honest.
Mm. I'd agree with that. I mean, just personally saying now, obviously being there, I thought you completely outboxed him. It was a fantastic fight to watch, and and a good atmosphere. So just wanted to touch on that. Obviously, being your other big win, we've sort of gone back in time, but that's all right. But yeah, going back to the world title. I mean, one of the things I wanted to ask you, Jay, was around that time. Personally, I heard rumours that you were thinking of coming out of the sport and you were sort of struggling to get fights. I mean, is there any truth to that, or was that just people talking?
Yeah, well, after the Commonwealth title, see, everything went proper stale. It did. I didn't have a fight for 8 months, I think, something like that. And obviously, I was with Warren at the time, and lucky to like Mo Pryor and Richie Garner and people like that. They actually helped us out massively and put us on their local shows. Like I think Mo Pryor had me defend my Commonwealth title up in York. That
Mm,
wasn't even like a Warren bill or anything like that. It was because I wasn't getting any fights. I was Commonwealth champion, and again, no fights. It was ridiculous. It was, and at the time, I was thinking, why would he give me a Commonwealth title shot and I win it, and then don't use me again, which makes no sense. So after that, and well, it was like about six months, and or maybe a bit longer. I think Richie Garner put me on a show in Swansea. Did so I got on that, which was only like a 6 rounder, something like that it was. And then it was again then. We were thinking, no, we're going to fight now in November or something like that. Nothing. And I didn't fight then until I think it was like, it could be well after, like June or something, the following year, again in Swansea. Again, like another Mo Pryor, Richie Garner show. And then that was it then. My contract run out with Warren. But then when all this was going on, because I didn't box for like 7, 8 months again, I was thinking, screw this. I thought I might as well just wrap the sport in because no, I wasn't getting the fights and I was earning more money and work than I was boxing. But then, as I said, lucky then, Mo Pryor came along and he said, look, I can get you defending your Commonwealth title in London. Do you fancy it? And I was like, yeah, got that done. And then my contract run out with Warren. And then Gary Lockett got on to MTK and they said couldn't believe I was a free agent, pretty much. And then they signed me pretty much straight away. And then in a year, I think it's a year, a couple of months ago, they I had a Commonwealth title, a European title shot, IBF Intercontinental shot, and a bloody world title shot in the space of a year. That's like pretty much changed my boxing career in a year. Unbelievable.
mm. That's how you want to be. I mean, I mean, I know, Jay. Even even on a personal note, I mean, I know you've always been hungry for the, for the big fights and stuff like that. And at the time you weren't getting them, I remember that myself. And when you did start getting them, it was, it was fantastic to see.
Each fight, again, regular fights, and you could see the improvement from each fight as it was, and it was nice really because I knew exactly when I was fighting. I was pretty much getting a fight every 3 or 4 months when I signed with MTK, and that's the way it should be. You should know exactly when, not sat in the bloody dark.
Mm. Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, and obviously it's that's key for the preparation, and everything like that. Yeah. I know. And then, moving on to sort of what I touched on earlier, but obviously, we come now to the world title shot itself. I mean, what happened with that? I mean, what is it like to get a call for, a fight as big as that?
Oh, it was just something else. It was, I've told, we were in me and my family, my girlfriend and my stepdaughter. We were in Disneyland. We were for New Year's, celebrating New Year's, and we got back to my phone ran out of battery. While we were going around the park, and then I got back to the hotel, put my phone on charge, and my phone was just going mad. It was. But previous to this, we heard inklings about the world title shot, but we didn't know whether we were going to go down the IBF route or we were going to get a straight shot at Martinez. So I was just playing it by ear then. I was like, oh, if it comes, it comes. But if it doesn't, we just go down a different route or wherever. But then when I put my phone on charge, my phone went absolutely berserk. It did. Like Guy Lockett texting me, Leighton ringing me, my dad. So I rang my dad, and then he just like said, "We've got it. We've got the straight shot." The Martinez said. So I was over the moon. I was ecstatic. It was. I told my family, and they were over the moon as well. And they said we got it at the end of February, February 29th. So it was like 8 or 9 weeks it was to prepare, which was ample to be honest. And as soon as I got home from France, I went straight into training pretty much. It was straight down, knuckle down, straight into training. It was unbelievable.
I mean, the opportunity of a lifetime, which leads me to another point. I mean, obviously, with this type of thing, a lot of people talk about, the physical preparation and the training, and we've touched on that quite a bit. But how do you sort of mentally prepare for a fight like that? I mean, with the pressure and with, I mean, were you nervous or like what did you go through?
I didn't think of any pressure. Obviously, it's a bit of nerves because it's probably the biggest fight of your life. It's what us boxers have. We think of what we want to achieve, and the world title shot is the highest we can go. Um, but no, there was no pressure on me. I always thought in my head that he's got the pressure because it was his belt and he's got to try and keep it. And I was always thinking that like like Americans, he probably didn't even know me properly. They only knew me from the Paddy Barnes fight, nothing really else. They didn't really know what I was about. So not really pressure, but it was really exciting time. That's for sure.
And what about again? I've touched on this a few times with different crowds, and I know they don't affect you, but what was the atmosphere like in Texas when you actually got there and you were getting ready for the fight and everything like that?
Well, actually, in the arena
Yeah,
or in
yeah. I mean, because I mean, I don't actually know that. How long were you in Texas before the actual
I was
fight?
up
Because
there 9 days. I was.
yeah, you flew in a while before. I remember that
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
And the actual week of the fight was brilliant. It was. We got up there 9 days before, but the first 2 days were like pretty much just warming in, having a look around the place, doing a bit of training and what have you. But then on the Monday, and once the heads and stuff started, then it really like kind of sunk in. And this was it. Like this is the biggest like fight of my life. But it was just like a surreal moment because I had like people like Parker next to me, Garcia, Vargas, Martinez, yeah, Cal was next to me, Chocolatito. I was just thinking, this is unbelievable. This is crazy. But then, as I said, the press days and stuff was brilliant. Like everybody was great. Everything was brilliant. All the people were nice. The food was great. Everything was good. And then the fight night happened. And the crowd was mental. It was the hostility I had was mad going in. People telling me it was like, "Oh, you're gonna die" and stuff like that, and spitting and stuff, and telling me, shouting at me, and I was like, Jesus Christ! But after the fight, though, after the fight was all done, the crowd like changed massively. They were all cheering for me and saying, "We love you, Harris. Texas loves you." And then when we like go into, well, I went back to the hotel to get changed and stuff. Um, I just pretty much got mobbed straight after it. Then loads of people wanted photographs, autographs, me to sign everything. It was mad. It was unbelievable. You wouldn't believe I just lost that fight. Like that's how much of a performance I think I put in.
I'd agree. I mean, to be honest, you proved that you belong at world level 100%, and it's not just me saying that. I mean, funny enough, I remember the night because I was actually working away in England, so I didn't watch it live. I watched it back afterwards, but I was still checking the results constantly and things, and reading the score like for each round and everything like that. And and everybody said the same thing. You gave a absolutely amazing account of yourself, and like I say, really proved that you belonged at that level, boxed really well on every level. But I mean, what did you think of your performance? Because that's what matters at the end of the day.
I thought, yeah, I thought I did a lot myself proud, honestly. Um, I've watched it back a load of times now, and I think the scorecards are a lot closer than what one judge said anyway. That was insane what that one judge.
Mm.
But yeah, I couldn't be more proud of myself. I proved to a load of people that I am worthy of being world level, because there's loads of people who thought they didn't really know me. They just thought, bloody hell, we're gonna see now if Jay Harris is pretty much world class. And I think I proved to a lot of people that I am.
Mm. I'd say so. I would say so, 100%. Um, you know, and I mean, obviously, coming out of that fight, basically, how were you? I mean, obviously, I saw the pictures. There was some bad bruising, but I mean, how did you feel? Not only physically, but also about the fight
Yeah,
itself.
yeah. No, obviously there's bruises and stuff like that. But mentally I was fine because I knew I give 100%. And I said that to everybody. If I knew I give 100%, there was no way coming out that ring like gutted, or obviously I was gutted about the result. It's going to be, I want to be a world champion, but as long as I give 100%, um, and I knew I did what I had to do, there was no way I was going to put a downer on myself at all. Not a chance, because I know some people, they just dwell on the situation. And there's a thing like if I knew I come out and I was like, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that, and I would have been gutted then. But I didn't. I done what I set out to do. I just didn't come back with the result. That's all.
Mm. But no regrets then at all. You're very happy. That's good. That is good, and so you should be. I mean, the other thing that sort of I wanted to touch on is I know that you're very much a supporter of Swansea City, football, but also obviously very much a supporter of your community anyway. And you went into the fight, I think, with with their logo, and there was a lot of talk about that at the time. Did that sort of give you a mental effect, or what does that mean to you to sort of carry them with you?
Yeah, to carry the city badge into the ring with you. It feels like the support of the city pretty much. And do you know what I mean? And football's massive in it, and we got a massive following down in Swansea for the Swans, and the amount of messages I was getting off people when I put the logo up there and carrying the Swans badge into the ring was unbelievable. So it does. It feels like you got the support of the community behind you, and as well.
And then, I mean, obviously after the fight, coming home and everything like that. I mean, what is it like now? And I know it's a bit different with the lockdown and everything, but in general, after you got back, were you sort of getting stopped and sort of talked to everywhere?
Yeah, my phone didn't stop. It did like for about 2 weeks, pretty much. It was every day. It was like going off. But yeah, we had a couple of people just stop me and said good fight and congratulations. Obviously, work was a lot bit when I went back to work. Um, People were just saying congrats. Everybody was very nice. There was not one bad word said at all. All over social media, face to face, everything was great. Everything was lovely, and that's all I could ask for. Really, it's been brilliant.
And I mean, the other thing, the other aspect of that with the communities, I'd imagine that, you're sort of an inspiration to a lot of people. I mean, probably before now, before the world title shot, but definitely after. I mean, do you feel that you've had that sort of, positive impact, like on your community, on Swansea?
Well, I don't know, but I hope so. Um, I hope I have. It's nice to know if I have, definitely.
Mm.
Um, yeah, maybe I have. I don't know. Maybe it's just a thing just to not give up. If you
Yeah,
want to, you just don't give up. You just keep on plugging away at it.
yeah.
You know what
I
I mean?
mean, because I think that's sort of one of the things you've shown people, Jay, to be honest, is obviously, um, like I say, I mean, like you say, you kept at your dreams, and you basically you got there and you showed people what's possible. And to be honest, I think that has, a big impact on the community in the sense that a lot of people probably look at that and think, well, you know what, if he didn't quit, I'm not going to quit either. And it just has that effect.
Yeah, I
Um,
do get that effect on people because
yeah.
that's pretty much the way I thought. Even though I thought about giving it up, in the end, I had like obviously I got good family around me and good friends who had a chat with me. But always in my head, I always thought I've been doing this sport way too long to just give it up. So I was just always gonna stick at it just to see how far I could actually go anyway. So I was never gonna quit.
And I mean, obviously having, reached the heights, gone out to America, done what a lot of boxers dream of. I mean, there's a lot of guys that won't even ever get that chance necessarily. What are your sort of future ambitions now? I mean, where do you want to go from here, like in your career?
Well, I've always said, and I always said like, oh, if I ever reach the world title, I could retire a happy man. But now I've got there. I kind of want one. So I'm gonna just plug away now and hopefully try and win one. I want one, so I
Mm.
want to become a world champion. So that's what my future ambitions are going to be is try and win a world title.
That's good. I mean, like I said, I'm sure you'll get another shot at it, especially, with that performance being what it was. So fantastic. And the other thing I'd say, Jay, I mean, accomplishing everything you sort of accomplished in your career, rising up from obviously from the small hall shows to, world title glory. What advice would you sort of give to like young boxers, I mean, like starting out, or maybe not just in boxing, but someone who wants to achieve in anything in life? I mean, what would you say?
Um, to have a lot of patience, I would have thought. Patience it does go a long way because that, that's where I've had to learn because you always feel like you need to be higher than you are, but then with when you like Guy Lockett always says to me, just be patient and something will come. And that's what pretty much happened. I was patient and then all this waiting finally give me something. I come off with a European title, come off with the IBF, and then I finally got a world title shot after like 7 years. But it's all worth it in the end. Just be patient, I would say. That would be my advice to someone if they're starting in this sport because it's a very hard sport. It is. Even when you start in the smaller shows and ticket selling and stuff, that's the hardest thing as well, ticket selling. But if you got the tools and you're good, just be patient and plug at it. I would say.
Mm. Well, that's good advice, Jay. I mean, that's very good advice, especially these days when you see people sort of particularly in boxing as well. You see a lot of people being sort of fast tracked to sometimes to certain titles. Or I've seen that a few times, and
Sometimes
um,
it doesn't always work out though. If they
well,
get fast,
that's
they
it.
get they get fast tracked too quick, and then they come up against someone that's been in the game and knows the ins and outs of the sport and the dirty moves and stuff, and they just can't handle it. But
Yeah.
just learn your craft, innit?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Because obviously you sort of built you've built the foundations to sort of get to this level with a good understanding of the sport, obviously with your dad, with Gary, having a good team around you. And I think that's very good advice. And there's only one other question that I sort of wanted to ask us, a little bit more abstract than some of what we've talked about. But I mean, as a person, what does success mean to you? So what is success to you? So I know you're going for the other world title shot, but to some people, success is fame, it's money. To some people, it's family or it's community. I mean, what is success to you?
I feel like I've already done my success, I think.
Mm,
But anything after this now is a bonus, I think. But
mm,
I'm happy. I got a little bit of money. It doesn't really bother me now what comes after. But hopefully I'll fulfill what I want to do and become a world champion. So that's the only thing in my mind really. But
mm.
other than that, I think I've succeeded already.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think obviously, going out there to America and doing that, I mean, it's your dream come
Yeah,
true. And it's an amazing thing. I mean, it's more than a lot of people will do in a lifetime.
exactly.
Um,
I said that
yeah,
as well. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I said I've achieved a lot more in what my career now that and some top professionals didn't even achieve it. Like, do you know what I mean? So some top professionals might not even reach a world title or European title. You don't know. I've
yeah.
seen it before from top. They've never even reached the world level. Like, and
Mm.
I've done it.
Mm, you've done it. Well, Jay, I mean that's everything. I mean, we've covered some absolutely fantastic stuff there, and it's been a really good insight into your career,
Nice one.
and it's what I was hoping for because it's really an insight into your mindset and how you've got there. So thank you for that. But no, but thank you for taking the time to
Right, mate.
talk with
No
me.
worries.
All right, so okay.
Oh, brilliant. All right, yeah, nice one.
All right, nice one, mate. Take it easy.
Yeah.
All the best. Ta-da, ta-da.